Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining the Real Estate Investor Speaker Series. I'm so excited to have Jason here today. Our goal with the speaker series is to bring in practitioners, subject matter experts, so that we can all learn from their journey in real estate investing. So today, Jason is here. Jason started his accounting career way back in 2013 and got his CPA license in 2018. Is it 2015 actually? But he started his real estate investing career in 2018. So for the last 5 years, he's been actively investing in real estate. And more than anything, what I find really inspiring about Jason's story is that he didn't let his cerebral palsy hold him down from dreaming big. So I'm really excited to have Jason here join us and share his story with us. With that said, Jason, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you so much for having me here today. I really appreciate the opportunity. Once again, my name is Jason Malabute. I'm a CPA, MBA, and also real estate investor. And lastly, I'm also a co-leader of a multifamily master's chapter here in Los Angeles, California. Okay, so you guys, growing up, I came from very humble beginnings. As previously mentioned, I grew up with cerebral palsy. For those who don't know what cerebral palsy, it basically affects your motor skills. So it's hard for me to, to walk, as quickly as you guys, move as quickly as you guys, and lastly, it affects your speech as well. However, I never let that stop me from actually meeting and going for my goals in life. So, so I am human just like you guys. Some of the things that I had to deal with growing up was, society's expectations. When you have a disability, of course, most people are not gonna think very highly of you um, on their first impressions. Also, I had a lot of limiting beliefs. One of the biggest when it comes to real estate investing is speech. Before I started hiring cold callers, I was actually making calls myself. And one of my biggest fears was that when I call apartment owners, that they would not understand what I am saying. However, over time, I got over that limiting belief, and I realized that people understanding this perfectly, and that everything is just in my head. Next thing that I had a limiting belief on was was working with other people because I always thought that people were going to try and take advantage of me because of my disability. But I realized that that is not the case. And if you want to go far in real estate and also business, then you're gonna have to learn how to work with other people. Okay, so here's what we're going to be talking about today, you guys. First, we're going to talk about my journey, which we already did. And then next, we're going to do a real case study. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the tax advantages of real estate investing. Okay, so here's the property that we're going to be discussing in this case study. So this is 1519 East Tabor Street in Indianapolis, Indiana. And as you guys could see, when I first bought this property back in 2019, this house looked like a drug house when I first bought it. So here's a condition of the property when we first bought this property. As you can see, the flooring was really beat up. We needed new paint, interior and exterior, and also we needed to refinish the cabinets in the kitchen and also the restrooms as well. So as you can see, this property was listed for $49,000, and actually a buyer had this property under contract prior to me purchasing this property. However, however, the buyer actually backed out of the property for whatever reason. So my real estate agent reached out to me and told me that the property is back on the market in case I want it. So I was able to negotiate the property down to $42,000, specifically because I was paying cash for the property, and also the property was distressed. Okay, so so here are the things that I learned from this particular deal. Okay, first thing is that is that when you guys are working with a broker, you guys need to understand that a broker is trying to make a sale, and they will say anything to get you to purchase a property at the highest price so that they can increase their commission. So, for example, the broker will say things like, um, all you have to do is just add one bedroom, and then you'll be able to increase the rents. And also, he said that we could get a after repair value of the property for $110,000, but in reality, it's only $80,000 to $85,000, based on the kind of finishes that we are planning to do for the rental. Also, the broker is going to try and build rapport and comfort with you by saying things like, I would not push anything to you that I would not do myself. Okay. However, even if I was still green behind the ears back then, I still knew enough to reach out to local investors out in Indianapolis, Indiana. And they told me that um adding an additional bedroom to the property, it's more risk. Um, and that the after repair value is going to depend on the extent of the rehab that you are going to do. Um, if I knew what I knew today, back then, one thing I would change is that I would have not worked with a broker. I would have just went direct to owner instead. And a reason for that is because when you're going direct to owner, especially with single family homes and small multi-family buildings, you're going to be able to negotiate a better price compared to working with a broker. Okay, so when I bought this property back in 2019, I was not familiar with the inspection report. So I missed so many red flags in the inspection report. So one of the biggest things I missed was that there is active knob and tube wiring throughout the property. And at the time, I had no idea what that meant. But all you have to know, you guys, is that for you to replace a knob and tube wiring for a small house like this, it could cost you easily 15 to 20,000 just to fix that. So that could have been a major mistake for me that I missed, but fortunately things worked out for me, and I will explain how shortly. Okay, so here is the budget that we had for this rehab for this property, and as you can see, we were at close to $35,000 for the rehab. So remember, you guys, I bought the property for 42,000 plus rehab 35,000. So we are all in for this property at $77,000, right? So so originally when we first got this property, we were able to push rent from to 825, and then the same tenant renewed in 2021, and we raised rents again to $850. Okay, so remember, you guys, we're all in for this property at $77,000. Okay, and then the broker said that we could get an after repair value of $110,000, but after talking to local investors, I knew that it's going to be more like $85,000. So after we finished all the rehab costs, we were at 56. And after we finished all the rehab costs, we were at 77,000. And then now it's time to refinance. And then when you're refinancing a property, you need to get that property appraised. So the first time that I went to an appraiser, they appraised my property for $56,000. So I was mad, you guys. I thought that I just lost $21,000. So what did I do? Did I give up? No, I didn't give up. What I did was I challenged the appraisal, and then demanded them to give me a second appraisal. So when they came back with that second appraisal, they came back at $63,000, and now I was feeling a combination of being angry and at the same time being scared, because now I really think that I lost a lot of money on this property. But once again, you guys, did I give up? No, I did not give up. But um, because remember, you guys, we are shooting for at least $80,000 of appraisal for this property. So what I did was, I went to a different lender. And then I told the new lender that I wanted a new appraisal for this property. So when I did that, the lender was able to give me better rates for my loan, and also he was able to get me a new appraiser to go and appraise my property. And guess what, you guys? Third luck is a charm, because on the third time, my appraisal came back at $85,000. So that's $5,000 more than what I was really expecting. So I was very happy about that. So came time in 2021, I decided that I wanted to sell this property because I want to focus on multifamily. So when it was time to sell, we had such a hard time selling this property because again, potential buyers kept on seeing all of the deferred repairs and red flags that were associated with this property. For example, the knob and tube wiring, and we were getting, cash offers of 100, 100,000, 110,000, but all these people just kept on backing out of the deal because of all the deferred repairs. And one buyer actually wanted a $28,000 credit for this property, and um I told him, no, I'm not gonna give you $1 credit for this property. So what did I do, you guys? Did I give up? No. What I did was, I pulled the property off the market, and then I started talking to my network. And then I was able to, find my friend who's also a real estate investor. He's not as conservative as me, so he was actually willing to pay the full price of $85,000 for this property. So I was able to get my full asking price for this property, you guys. And the whole moral to the story is never accept no for an answer. If somebody cannot give you the answer that you want, then you find somebody who can give you the answer that you need to get. Okay, so let's move on. So as you guys can see here, it's the proof that um I was able to get my full asking price of $85,000, and I was happy because I could say that I've never lost money in real estate. I've definitely broken even from real estate. And some deals I made a lot of money from, some deals I broke even from. And I can say that I have made more money from the deals that I've learned more from the deals that I have broken even from compared to the ones that I've made money from. Okay. So how am I gonna apply the lessons learned from my single family career to the multi-family shift, which is the most important thing today? So first of all, first lesson is to go direct to owner, right? Because you cannot depend on brokers, especially in today's market when you have people from California, New York, internationally who are willing to pay double, triple what the property is really worth, then you can't really depend on brokers. So first thing is that I learned how to go direct to owner. Next is make sure that the comps that you are using are actually good comps. How do you know that's a good comp when it comes to multifamily? So in multifamily, you use comps not for sales, because remember, multifamily is valued on the performance of the property, not what people are paying for that property. So in multifamily, you are using comps for you to get an idea of how much you could push rents up to. So so you will verify that you have good comps by making sure that your comps are within the same vintage, um within 2 miles of your subject property, and has the same amenities as your subject property. For for example, you cannot compare a multi-family building that was built in 1960 that is 40 units that has no amenities to a 200 unit built in 2017 with other amenities. That's comparing apples to oranges, and you cannot base your rent projections to their rent projections because that's a different kind of property. Okay. Next thing is communication with the inspector is very important. Um, right after you get that inspection report, you need to be on the phone with the inspector, and you need to ask the inspector, okay, Mr. Inspector, which one of these red flags that you marked are really red flags that we need to take care of now, and which ones can we put off until later? So that's a very important conversation to have. Next thing is, I've already told you guys it before, never take no for an answer. If somebody's gonna tell you no, you fire them, you get rid of them, and then you find somebody who's going to get you a yes answer. And lastly is teamwork, you guys. You cannot go far in this business trying to figure out and do everything yourself. And it took me a long time to learn this. But for the longest time, I was trying to do everything myself, and it wasn't until recently that I built my team of partners and employees that we were able to get more traction in multifamily. Okay. Okay, you guys. So another thing that I did was that I started my own meetup group. And the reason why I started my own meetup group here in Los Angeles, California, is so that I could build more exposure for myself, and also I can find potential partners and also potential investors as well. So some of the things that I learned was to trust other people so that I could scale much faster. Um and something very inspiring, you guys, is that when we first started our meetup group, nobody knew who we were, and we actually had our first meetup as a virtual meetup, just so that we could build an audience. And then after doing our virtual meetup, we had our first in-person meetup, and we had 20 people show up for our first meetup. For our second and our third meetup, which was last week, we had more than 50 people show up to our meetup. So, meaning, you guys, in only 2 months, we were able to increase our attendees by 100%. So that's very inspiring stuff. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so tax advantages, right? So first of all, let me say that this is not tax advice, and I would strongly encourage you guys to talk to your own personal CPA when it comes to taxes and real estate investing. Okay, so one of the biggest advantages in real estate is that you are able to defer your taxes when you are in real estate. And one way you can do that is you can do a 1031 exchange where if you sell your property, um, and then if you reinvest the proceeds of the property in a new investment property, as long as you meet the 45 days and the 180 days rules, you are able to defer tax liabilities until a future date. Next is cost segregation, and I wish that this is something that I incorporated when I was in single family, but I will definitely be incorporating this on the multi-family side. So this is how cost segregation works, right? So normally when you're investing in real estate, you can only depreciate the actual building. because you can't depreciate the land because the IRS assumes that the land is going to be there forever, so you can't depreciate that. So the IRS lets you depreciate the building for 27.5 years. However, with cost segregation, you're able to take all the fixed assets that inside of the property, and you're able to depreciate those at a faster rate, for example, 5 to 7 years. So, for example, if let's say we buy a apartment building, and let's say we have to replace, let's say 20 of those windows. Well, we're going to depreciate the building itself over 27.5 years. However, we're able to depreciate the windows between the 5 to 7 years on top of that building. So you're able to write off more of your income with the cost segregation. So another thing is that capital gains is taxed lower compared to your ordinary income. So that's another advantage of real estate investing. Okay, you guys. So you guys, if you guys want to learn more about me, you guys can go to www.jasonmalabute.com. You will find all my podcasts there, all my blogs, a replay of all my meetups. Everything is there, you guys. So I encourage you guys to go there, please. And also, we can stay connected on all social media. You can connect with me on Facebook, on our LinkedIn, on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. If you guys have any questions about real estate investing, multifamily investing, or specifically the Indianapolis or the Kansas City markets, because those are the markets that we are focusing on. Please don't hesitate to reach out. And
Jason, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. For me, my key theme that I took away from your story is the tenacity, right? So the tenacity with which you kept going, identifying the right property that works for you, getting it appraised the right way, and then being able to sell. So I think that's the key theme. So the folks in the audience, if you have any questions, please feel free to type it in the chat pod or unmute yourself and ask your question. I have few, so as people are thinking about their questions and sharing with that, I have a few questions that I want to get started with. So my first question is, you mentioned that when you started investing, you decided, or you for the first property you used a broker, but then for you the key takeaway was that going directly to the owner is much more beneficial. So what strategies are you using directly going to the owner as you're searching for a multifamily leads?
So we mostly do cold calling. We call the owners directly to see if there is a motivation for them to sell the property. And if there is a motivation, then we try to figure out how can we help them sell the property to us.
Got it. So are you using PropStream, or how are you building your lists to call the owners?
Great question. So we use Reonomy, and Reonomy provides us with a list of properties that meet our criteria.
Okay.
Um, and then once you get that information, then we go to the county records to make sure that we have the correct owners owner information, and then from there they will get their phone numbers, their emails, their social medias, and then we'll reach out to them from there.
Got it. And are you outsourcing this activity, or are you doing this in-house with your own team?
So we're doing this out with my own team. I hire, employees from the Philippines, and they work virtually to help me with a lot of the admin stuff that we have to do.
That's awesome. Okay. And they're able to manage the cold calling and the lead management as well.
Yes. But of course, you still have to have quality control and make sure that they are following the scripts, and make sure that their scripts are working correctly, because based on our experience, we are always tweaking our scripts, trying to make it better.
Got it. Okay. So outsource it, but make sure you have tabs on the quality control.
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. And then the second question I have is around, you mentioned how you figured out a little bit later in the journey the importance of teamwork. So tell me a little bit about what does your team look like? How did you find them? And what's the difference working solo versus working with the team? What are the key differences that you're seeing?
So for the longest time, growing up, I grew up in a conservative Asian household because I'm Filipino, and something that I always heard growing up was to avoid working with partners. Because partners are gonna take advantage of you, and that they're gonna take all your money, and that's how you go bankrupt. Um, However, what I realized is that people who go far in this business, they all have partners, and nobody does its business by themselves. So how it started was in the beginning of the year, I posted a something in the real estate forums, and I said that I'm looking for a accountability partner that's gonna help me underwrite deals every single week. Um, and then we had several people try out, but there was only one person who kept on coming back every single week for about 6 months. 6 months, we were doing this every single week, and that showed me that this person really has the same values as me, and that this person has the same vision as me. So that's why I told this person, hey, I think it's better if we just work together, because we will be able to accomplish more if we work together compared to us trying to do this by ourselves. And then from there we did the same process. And then now we have another team member who only focuses on the underwriting of the deals. So now I have two partners. I have one who does the underwriting. And then I have one who is boots on the ground. In my markets. So then therefore we're able to go and meet with brokers physically. We're able to go meet with owners physically. We're able to tour properties more regularly. And and like and we were able to get more traction in our first week of working together than I did in my first year of trying to do everything by myself.
Okay, wonderful. So I missed the detail. You mentioned that you posted, was this in Bigger Pockets that you posted that you're looking for an accountability partner?
Yeah. So I posted on Bigger Pockets. I also posted it on several Facebook groups.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Jason, what's uncanny about this is that the coincidence is the two other team members that I work with in Minneapolis market. I found one of them through like an accountability group. So I have a similar story where I was looking for an accountability partner, and one of the partners whom I'm working with responded to that. And before being working as a team, we were accountability buddies. And then we're working for 6+ months, and then we decided, okay, let's partner together. So I think it's a great way to identify partners who are serious and who are like-minded and share your values. That's the best way to vet them, I think.
Yes, because it's very important for you guys to have the same values and the same vision.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was back in college, I was trying to start my own wine bar here in Los Angeles, and that was a big failure. Because my partners, I did not do a good job of making sure that they have the same values as me. So that was my learning point from that, was making sure that you are working with people who have the same values as you.
Yeah. So you mentioned that one of your partners is focused on underwriting, the other partner is the boots on the ground. What are you doing? So how are you funding your deals?
So, as previously mentioned, we rely on both direct to owner and also reaching out to brokers as well.
No, I was talking about funding. How are you funding?
Oh, funding deals. Yeah. Depending on the size of the deal, if it's a small deal, and when I say small, I mean something that's below $1.5 million, then we are just going to do a JV. However, if it's more than $1.5 million, then we'll just syndicate that deal.
Okay, cool. So have you already done any syndications, or are you primarily working in a JV model?
Yeah, because previously I was using my own money to do deals back then. The reason why I was using my own money back then is because I knew that I was so new in the space, and I knew that I was gonna make a lot of mistakes, and I didn't feel comfortable using other people's money when I was so new. However, now that I'm more experienced and I'm working with more experienced people know I feel more comfortable reaching out to my family and friends to see if they are interested in investing with me.
No, awesome. That's awesome. Cool. I think I think we covered all the questions that I had. Folks in the audience, do you have any questions? If so, please put it in the chat pod or unmute yourself and share your question. So while we are waiting, Jason, what's in store? What are you seeing? The market is changing, right? So
Yes.
the interest rates, inflation, I am sensing definitely market softness. And I think for the first time in a long time, it is again a little bit more buyer friendly. What are you seeing? And are you changing any of your investment strategies?
So that is a loaded question because yes, we're definitely seeing a softening in the market. Um, However, there's still a lot of buyers out there, and a lot of them are still wanting to pay ridiculous prices for properties. I was just watching a video by Marcus Millcap yesterday, and he said that investor sentiment is still high right now.
Okay.
Um, However, the the midterm elections is in November, and I I personally believe, and it is only my opinion, but I believe that after the November elections, we're gonna see more of a drastic correction.
Okay. Okay. Nice. So, Tara, I see your hand raised. Please go ahead and ask your question. Tara, do you want to ask your question?
Hey, Shalani, I was having trouble. I couldn't unmute and I couldn't put a comment. It looks like it's disabled right now to comment.
Hello, participants. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think now the UI was confusing. So I guess I took care of that now. So you should
That's okay. We're so used to Teams on Adobe, right? But yeah, I was just wondering, for somebody that's very new to investing, I haven't even purchased my own home yet. I was looking in those tough markets, like in New York, specifically in upstate New York. I know with it being more pro rental friendly than it is for the landlords, is it the best decision to have your first property in a multifamily in a state like that because of the laws? Given COVID, there was a lot of people that were not having to pay rent, and I don't want to put myself in that situation, my first investment property. So I would just love to hear your opinion about that.
So first of all, let me say that of course there's always an advantage of you having your multifamily or your rental property in your backyard. However, it's mostly just about comfort, right? So for example, if you have to fix something at your property, it doesn't matter if it's 2 minutes away, if it's 2 hours away, if it's 10 hours away. If you don't know how to fix something, and if you're not gonna personally fix it, then it doesn't really matter because you're still going to hire somebody to go and fix it for you. So like, it's all about having a boots on the ground person who you could trust, who
Mhm.
will report to you about what's going on at your property. And lastly, I always tell people that I love living here in Los Angeles, California, but I would never invest here. And the reason why I would never invest in Los Angeles is because it could take you 6 months or more for you to evict a tenant.
Right.
Compared to like the more red states or the landlord friendly states, for example, Indianapolis or Kansas City, where if you choose not to pay me my rent, I can get you evicted in 5 weeks.
Right. Yeah, I know that's a problem for people in New York and especially California. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your question, Tara.
Yeah.
All right, anyone else? Any other questions that you have? I have a question for you, Jason. So you are definitely, in terms of giving back to the community and sharing your real estate investing experience, doing a great job of doing the meetups, the podcast, and just sharing your experiences on the social media. How do you keep up with the pace of it?
It's just having a strong enough why, right? Like if you have a big enough why, then you'll find a way. If your why is not big enough, then you'll find excuses.
Awesome. On that note, Jason, thanks so much again for sharing your story, your guidance, your experiences with our group today. I wish you continued success and wish you big things further.
Sure. Thank you again, you guys. And once again, you guys, if you guys have any questions about real estate investing, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm on every single social media, and you guys can learn more about me at www.jasonmalabute.com. All right.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Jason.